It is the first day of Christmas the Michael Chekhov way, the first of 12 days. You may know that Michael Chekhov was heavily inspired by Dr. Rudolf Steiner, who created a path generally known as anthroposophy. It's a spiritual science, not a religion, but an incredible cosmology or way to look at the world. And Michael Chekhov interwove into his work that he developed through Stanislavski in the first Moscow Art Theater studio and blended it with his own creative intuition. And in spiritual science, these coming 12 days are a very special time of year. We've just passed the winter solstice, and it is as if the veil between the visible and the invisible, or the tangible and the intangible, that veil is very thin during these next 12 days, beginning this evening, this first day of Christmas. And so there are concepts that we can work with. This special number 12 is present in our zodiac, and we could say our zodiac represents a series of archetypes. It also can represent the spiritual hierarchies, and all of these elements of archetypes and the hierarchical structures are part of storytelling and therefore part of Michael Chekhov's pathway of education. And we have qualities or virtues that are present for each of these 12 days. Today, the first virtue is love. And I'm thinking about how much love I've experienced and how much love I've given over this past year. In this first day, we work with the same kind of ideas Chekhov uses in the reversal of the rehearsal process. We're going to look at it through the flyback process. That's the reflection process, the three-part cookie process where we have an overall, what did I like about what happened? What could I do to develop? How could I, if it's a cookie and a sandwich cookie, could I double stuff it with something juicier next time around? And what was my favorite moment? And so I'm inviting you to go on this journey through these next 12 days and maybe a little bit longer to synthesize it and to ask yourself to reflect. And maybe you can do this by remembering the goblet image, this goblet image, that you can reflect by centering yourself and by anchoring yourself and by allowing an uprightness to come into your body and imagining that you become a goblet ready to receive images from the highest world, this independently existing world of images, of beings that live in their own expression, and that we as creative artists are able to receive, that we can talk with them and ask them, and we can go through our ideal artistic center and imagine that we can open ourselves to receive the answers when we ask these leading questions of overall. And perhaps we work month by month. Today we work with December and we go back to November and work our way back to January. Today in December, how have I expressed my love? Overall, what did I experience in the realm of love during this December? And in my double stuff, how could I have expressed it more? That love could be magnanimity, right? Magnanimity and love. And did I receive and did I radiate the love? And for the few days that are left, can I receive and radiate even more magnanimity and love? And there are so many things one can do during this season. For example, today is Wednesday, and on Wednesday, the day is Also in Spanish, it's easy to remember because it's miércoles, and that's Mercury's day. And Mercury is in yellow. And yellow, we can, for example, just think, because today is Wednesday, and yellow is a great color, maybe if I wear a sweater today, I will wear a yellow sweater. And I can think, well, how do I feel when I have this sense of yellow? Is there a movement and a gesture for the yellow? Now, we know that Michael Chekhov had eurythmy in all of his traditional conservatory classes, and that eurythmy is a movement and speech process, making speech and image come alive in movement, sound, cosmic sound. So, for example, in today with Mercury, this yellow features, and this is from Cynthia Hoven's book on eurythmy, and that's Eurythmy Online. So there is Cynthia, and this was her first book, and this stunning picture of Mercury, and you see the yellow here. And also Mercury, and it has the, we are in the month of, we're looking at the zodiac sign for this day as Pisces. And the gesture for Pisces, it moves in this upward direction and downward direction, and it has its center in the foot. So like Michael Chekhov works with imaginary centers, you can think today about the foot and the letter N, which has a gesture that comes like this. So you could, with your foot in a yellow sock, for example, make an N sound there. And that would help awaken these energies to align yourself with this Wednesday. Now, we have so many different things because we also have the archetype of humanity in part of our hierarchies. And so imagine we can make an imaginary body of the ideal human being. And the ideal human being, again, is that being of love, which is our theme stone for today, our virtue for this day. And this human, the archetype, we can put on the archetypal body of a human who is a pure being of love. That is an amazing thing. And there's a color that's really attached to this, which is, the color is peach blossom red. And peach, imagine that, and there's an atmosphere of peach blossom red, and that you can move into that with this garment of yellow there, with this strong N sound, and this ability to have a center in your foot to take a stand on the earth. And this is an element that is a water element. And so we have in the qualities of movement a flow. Notice how love flows. Love is an action, is an activity that flows. Now, with that, we have this little cue card, which I will take a snapshot of and I will post. And we're Pisces, we're love, we are in the archetype of the human, we are in the sense of taste. The sense of taste. And so today, as you, and this evening and through the morning tomorrow, notice your taste and how much you love taste. And I know I have friends and family who have lost their sense of taste and smell. So this sense of taste, how it affects the flow of your life and being able to imagine your sense of taste. I want to talk about this goblet again because there's something incredibly special about this year that I love. One of the reflections of the overall, what did I love about this year, is I love the fact that there were 3 publications that came out about Michael Chekhov which deal with the goblet. right? So not just acting the Michael Chekhov way, but also Michael Chekhov and the 16 Lessons from Kaunas, which Jorg Andres got a chance to move out into the world. And this goes hand in hand with the Paris manuscript, which Hugo Moss from Brazil was able to move into the world, all featuring the goblet. And it's so exciting to me. It's something, how perfect is that? It's so exciting to me that the goblet image is something I've been working with for many years, since the 1990s, and it was one of the biggest secrets kept from the world. And now we have it from 3 different continents. Information is being brought forth about this. And it's so interesting that the time falls right around from 1932 to 1934 when these images were really developed. So now I am wanting to show you this image of, and I'll move to the side so I can see if we're getting it. There. This is that image of Mercury in the yellow, just to give you an idea of that. And then we have the image of Pisces, and that is this image. And we see that peach blossom red there, and with the gesture of the end and the center in the foot there. And to wrap this up, I want to talk about your opportunity, which is also my opportunity, and that is the flyback process. And can you ask yourself, overall, what did I love, and how did my love move into the world? How did I receive it? Especially this month, but you can reflect on the entire year. And then, how could I grow my love? That's a little teeny plant there. How could I grow my love? And then, what was a special shining moment that was just like, created harmony in me and the world, special moments? And can I fly forward? Can I fly forward and think of my coming year, of things that I am going to enjoy and experience overall? How is my growth going to be, and what are going to be my sparkling moments? And then, as it talks about in the end of Acting the Michael Chekhov Way, I think it's around page 283, power gestures. These are psychological gestures that are created just for you, for your soul, for yourself. And you create a gesture reflecting on and maybe expressing what you were experiencing during the year that maybe you struggled with, and expressing how you'd like the reality to become, and moving from that undesired state to the desired state, and creating this movement with a clear beginning, middle, and end that is going to empower you to release your fears and release the pains, and help master and manage grief and sorrow, because sometimes those stay with us, and it's not something we want to actually give up or lose, but we do want to allow it to be managed in such a way that we are still free to act as we wish. So I'm going to give you a quick little demonstration of a hypothetical for myself in terms of a gesture for me. So my thought in the beginning of the year was that I had to turn down opportunities to do things I would like to do, but I didn't feel were really directly focused on what was going to fulfill my destiny. I needed to write, I need to focus on my teaching, I need to not play golf, I need to not ride my motorcycle so much, I need to I can't go on these trips and things like that. I need to stay focused because that's my destiny. Another golf game, another motorcycle ride isn't my destiny. And I was sad and depressed about that. And I made a gesture to clear away my narrowing and limiting thoughts and said, no, I'm feeling this. No, I can do. And not only that, but the golf and the motorcycle bring me great ideas that I bring back then into my work. And I can tell you that for sure, because that's what happened. The reason I'm talking today is because yesterday when I was riding around on my motorcycle, I was like a goblet. The images poured into me. There's 12 days. Why can't we Chekhovize those? Why can't we think and reflect? So, love. I love that. Your everyday life. We talk about the circles of concentration and focal points and where in my life do I focus, and understanding that all 5 circles contribute to the whole. I love that. How is love going to happen in your life in the future? Create yourself a power gesture for it. And I hope you love this.